And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, Director of WEIU. This is on WEIU, your 13 TV, as well as WEIU TV. We're today going to talk about the Coles County Memorial Airport, and our guest is Mr. Andrew Fearn. Welcome, Andrew.
Welcome. Thank you.
And I didn't realize you'd been out there for 12 years already at the Coles County Memorial Airport.
It's been 12 years.
So your first appearance on Issues and Attitudes, so now you're officially a star, of course. Well, let's just talk about, your duties at the airport, job title, what you do, and maybe your, day-to-day stuff.
Okay. I'm the airport manager. We take care of close to a dozen buildings out there. I take care of leases. We are Part 139 airport. That means we're regulated by the FAA and somewhat by the state, but more by the FAA, so we have to maintain all those. The fire marshal looks at our fuel farms. We've got fire trucks we maintain, and there's regulations that go along with those. So leases, regulations, just making sure everything runs smooth out there.
And talking off mic with you a little bit, people really don't realize what all is out at the airport when you think about it. It's not just an airport, but you have a restaurant, Coles Together is there, 911 is there, Reed's Fly and Farming is there. So it's kind of a big operation, even though people probably think of it as more of a small airport.
Yes. There's quite a few things that go on there. We've also got the Coles County Animal Shelter. It's based there at the airport. So there's that's one thing I really enjoy about the job. There's something different, every day. We, in the winter we plow snow and we keep the airport maintained in a professional manner so that the flying public's safe.
There you go. Now, what about your background? What led you to work at this here in Coles County?
I started out, decided I wanted to be an aircraft mechanic, so I've got an associate's degree in that, and I thought, someday I may not want to stand on the concrete and work on airplanes every day. So I went in and got a bachelor's degree in aviation management from Southern Illinois University. It was kind of a fluke thing. I teach out at Lakeland College. I teach business classes there, and through a friend of a friend, they said, do you know anybody that might be capable of running the airport? And he said, yeah, I know a guy. So it was just a fluke deal. But I enjoy Coles County.
Have you enjoyed it? I mean, the 12 years out there, it's been enjoyable?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's always something different. We plow snow in the winter. We've got, this year I believe we have something on either 32 weekends or weeks. So we stay busy out there. We got something going all the time.
And now, of course, this weekend is the big air show out there. Talk about that.
Air shows this weekend. We've been having the air show 11 years. It's free parking. You can come out and spend the whole day if you want. Pack a picnic lunch. We allow coolers. Of course, no alcohol, no pets. You can bring the whole family out, spend the day, have fun. It's an educational, family fun day. So we've got world-class air show performers. We've got, historical World War II, Korea, Vietnam type aircraft. If you've been watching History Channel or something with the kids, bring them out and they can touch the real thing.
Now, how far do people come to either be a part of it or to watch it?
As far as people in the show, they're from hours away. I had a guy fly in the other day. He was somewhere down in Tennessee. I've got one pilot coming in from Florida. Some of these are high-performance World War II type aircraft, and it takes somebody that knows what they're doing to handle that big horsepower. As far as the average person coming, we know that 60% of the people that show up come from outside of Coles County, and we've had people from all over come to the show. We're one of the I believe Peoria and Bloomington had a show this year, and maybe Quad Cities, Springfield, Terre Haute. None of those have air shows anymore. So
financial reasons, or do you know?
Different things. Different things.
All right. One of the things that I wanted to talk about today is, having a small airport here in a town, in an area like Mattoon, Charleston, Illinois. How important do you think it is in terms of, financially, and just to know that there's an airport here? Talk about the importance of that.
Okay. We are, as far as operations and that sort of thing, we are a small airport, but infrastructure-wise, our runways are both over a mile long. Our big runway is 6,500 feet by 150 feet wide. It's got 9 inches of asphalt with 15 inches of concrete on top of that. It was designed for 727s and DC-9s. So, yes, we're a smaller airport, but we were designed to handle larger aircraft. So like when EIU's football team wants to fly out, 150 people or so, we can handle those aircraft. As far as to the community, companies use aircraft. They're corporate people. They're expensive people. Their per hour cost is huge. And to get them in and out, get them from wherever, almost anywhere in the United States to us, they can put in a day and be back home that night. It's critical. There's a lot of companies that use us, come in and out a couple times a week, maybe once a month, but they may come here and look at different things. A lot of times you don't even know who the companies are. They're looking at property or something like that. So it's an important thing in the community. Also, there's some other aspects. If we were to have major storms or something like that in the area, okay, we can handle, after Katrina and things like that, they run supplies and stuff out of the New Orleans airport. We can handle all that stuff. Almost every week there's medevac helicopters or airplanes either bringing in organs or people. We also have Reed's File Farming. I know they did hundreds of thousands of acres last year. This year they didn't spray quite as much because the crops were just, no rain. They're not growing. The farmers just aren't going to spend the money on them. So those are some of the things that the airport does. Some of the aspects of the, for the community.
Do you know how many flights come in and out on a daily or weekly or monthly? Do you have any statistics like that?
Sure. We average 95 operations per day. An operation is a takeoff or landing.
That was more than I thought, actually.
Yeah,
do you
we
ever
run 35,000 operations per year.
Do you ever envision the day that a carrier would come back to Coles County Airport, or do you think the situation where it is now, you've got it running well?
We are always looking for opportunities for the airport. We've had cargo in the past. I'm sure we'll have cargo in the future. As far as carriers, we are still holding our 139 certificate. That means we can handle carriers, just like I said, those charter flights like Eastern's football team going out. We are constantly looking for opportunities. When we last had service, we boarded 1.2 persons per day. Okay, that just financially does not make sense. For us to have a subsidized airline, which is what Springfield, Decatur, Champaign, all those have, they are subsidized airlines, the airport has to put in a huge amount. I heard the other day that I think Champaign got another carrier, and the federal subsidy was $500,000. The airport has to match that.
Ooh.
That is a lot of money. It needs to be utilized, but we're constantly looking for that niche market that we could fill and provide another service to the community.
You said something interesting, and I'm not trying to throw you off in the interview, but you took your job 1 year prior to 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to the 9/11/01 day and take us through that day at the Coles County Airport.
I'm sure, like everyone else, we were getting sketchy information, but we got calls from the FAA and said, "Hey, we're gonna route airliners to you. You need to be able to take care of these people." We ended up not taking any, but we were on call for that sort of thing. So that's just another thing that the airport, we're ready for that sort of thing all the time.
Were you I don't know what the word is correct. Were you like higher alert, scared, nervous, or were you just like in that full motion just to be prepared for anything?
I think you just kind of fall back and you go into, you're ready. A lot of things at the airport, we just have to be ready. You don't really have time to be scared or anxious, or afterwards you kind of sit back and go, oh, okay.
Now, did 9/11 change the way you do things in terms of security and being better prepared?
Yes. There's been a whole system implemented that we have to follow now, and we're working on a new emergency plan now. My old emergency plan was about 22 pages. The new one's 146, if that gives you an idea.
5 times as much, 6 times as much.
Yeah, and it falls in with, we've always worked with all the other agencies here in the county, the police, the fire. We've always done that. Well, this puts it on paper. The other thing is security. We're a pretty tight-knit group. I rent out 46 hangars out at the airport, so I've got at least 46 tenants that come and go. Of course, we have secure gates and that sort of thing. We don't have a police force. But those people know what other people drive. Bill drives a red Chevy pickup and there's a blue Ford sitting at his hangar. People will call me. That didn't used to happen. And immediately after 9/11, somebody would see a balloon somewhere or something, just your standard have fun flying a balloon, and they call, there's a balloon over my house. I don't know if they're dropping bombs or. So it was a little scary there for a while.
There you go. You said something. You have 32 events, throughout the calendar year. I know you have 4th of July fireworks and you have the air show this weekend. What are some of the other events that you put on out there at the Coles County Memorial Airport?
Actually, we have, I believe it's 32 weekends or weeks filled this year. A lot of those are Southern Illinois University hosts motorcycle training. You can come out, and there's 3 levels of training you can receive. Like you said, fireworks, air show, some other things. We got a circus tomorrow, and that wasn't even counted in the 32 events. Circus tomorrow evening and Wednesday evening. Let's see what else we do. We do lots of things that aren't really in those. Training for firemen. They do propane training, driver training, different things like that. We have our WINGS program. That's a program where pilots can come in and get recertified. We also have 2 weeks of Civil Air Patrol encampments. And I believe this year it was the 50th year for the Johnson Flight Encampment.
Oh, wow.
So they've been out there 50 years doing this. And the other program is the National Glider Academy. So those are kids from all over the United States and usually a few foreign kids. The first week is balloons, powered aircraft, and gliders. The second week is gliders only. So it's a really good program for young people to get introduced into aviation.
You said earlier that the airport is equipped for a DC-9 or a 727. Has there been DC-9s or 727s out there, or what's the biggest plane maybe that's been on the tarmac out there?
The biggest the most prevalent thing we get anymore is 737s because, Southwest Airline, that's all they fly. Not that we get Southwest, but the Boeing 737 is a very popular plane. So that's normally what we get. But yeah, DC-9s, 727s, you just don't see very much anymore. 737-800 will comfortably seat 152 people. So it's a pretty good sized aircraft.
I think that's what I was on this weekend.
Yeah.
Because I remember you said
they're extremely common. We've had troops come home on those planes. Like I said, football teams. We've had some private charters with 737-800s. So they're a nice big plane.
We also didn't mention the steakhouse out there. It's kind of a world-famous steakhouse with some of the things they offer. Heard stories of people flying in just to get the sandwich. Talk about that.
We get that all the time. Ron Bean's the operator. He's been there roughly for 40 years. They just do a great job. You talk to most airport managers about their restaurants, and it's just a headache. People come and go, and it's a different, every month you go to the airport, it's like, oh, now we got a Mexican restaurant. Next month it's this, They just do a great job. They do a lot of homemade stuff. They've won awards from the state for the quality of food and service they have. They're open from 7 to 8 daily, every day of the week, and we do have people flying from all over. We've had people just fly in, stop, pick up food, and go right back out. So it's a great asset to the airport. It makes us a well-rounded airport.
And you, speaking of awards, I saw on your website today that you've been the Airport of the Year a couple times in the last 10 years. Talk about that. Actually,
we've been Airport of the Year 3 times in the last 7 years. That is an award from the state. The number changed a little bit, but roughly 30-some airports is what we compete against. Those airports in our category, which is large general aviation airports. And I would say in the United States, we're just competing in Illinois, but in the United States, as far as airports, we have commercial service, we have general aviation, and we have military. That's the 3 types of airports we have.
Yeah.
So when you say general aviation, people think, oh, it's just little planes. General aviation is huge. That's all your business aircraft. It is the small planes. It's ag planes. It's cargo planes. All those fall into general aviation. As far as the award goes, we're extremely proud of it. We've got a beautiful facility. We keep that facility up. We do it, we're not overspending money or anything like that, but we keep a good quality, safe facility out there. And the state realizes that. Another thing is projects. We work on projects very closely with the state so that they're well-run projects, and those are repair projects.
Is there stuff maybe that people don't know about the Coles County Memorial Airport that you would like to talk about today? Like I always say, there's a hidden secret out there, or something that people don't know that maybe a reason to come out there.
we talked about the restaurant. I know people that have lived in Charleston all their life that have never eaten at the restaurant. And it's basically been the same operator for 40 years. So there's that. The other thing is people have, if they do see a big plane out there, or like if you look at our website or Facebook page, there's pictures of big aircraft on it. Or if you come out the airport, we got pictures posted and things like that. You can't see all the runway. The runways are crowned, and I think people think it's just a very small facility, that maybe you can get a little Cessna of some sort in and out of, and that's it. So I think that's probably it.
Now, my secret was, I told you already, I didn't realize if you're coming in on a late at night, talk about what about how the pilot actually controls the lighting system out there at night.
We're a non-towered airport. That means we do not have a control tower. So the pilots talk to each other. When they come in, all our equipment is also equipped with radios and flashing lights, and most of it's painted bright yellow so the pilots can see it. But we're non-controlled, and that means the pilots talk to each other. I'm going to land here, I'm going to do this, where I'm at, altitudes, all that sort of thing. So at night, our lights go down to, our big runway goes down to 0.5%. Okay, so they're on, but just barely. Also our beacon runs and our wind tees and things like that. But the pilots can actually click the lights up, bring the lights up to full power, and when they get close, they can actually bring them down and turn the strobes off, because the lights and the strobes are extremely bright. It's pilot controlled. It really helps us out on electricity savings. And that's something we're looking at all the time, is where we can cut costs and still maintain a safe facility.
How many employees are out there at the Coles County?
We only have 3 full-time employees. I do hire extra people in the summer because we mow about 350 acres. And I also hire extra people in the winter for snow removal.
So 3 people really keep that place, up to snuff, clean, and on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, and, like I said, we hire those part-time people, but a lot of times it's the same people year-round, year to year, and they're just great people. For somebody to come out at 3 or 4 in the morning and start pushing snow, and we push snow till dark, it takes some pretty good guys. So, and to run the equipment we have pretty specialized equipment.
When you talk about, today with, obviously aviation expenses are up when you're flying. I just flew back and forth to Baltimore this past week. Talk about, the expenses of maybe the big carriers and the big airports, but also how safe airplanes are today.
Airplanes have, not just today, but, every day they're safe. The things we do to maintain the airport in a safe way, that's every part of aviation. Whether it's a passenger plane or a personal plane or whatever, you have to put signed, approved parts on aircraft. You have to be licensed to put those parts on. Then someone else has to be a little bit higher than you, an inspector authorization to sign those off. It's not like your car where you tear something down, you got AutoZone or wherever, CarQuest here in town, get some parts and put those back on. You can't do that with a plane. They have to be, everything comes with a tag. There's also logbooks. As a pilot, you keep a logbook, but the mechanics also keep a logbook too. And those planes and engines, separate logbooks, whether it's helicopter, balloon, or everything has a logbook, and everything that's ever been done to that plane is kept in those. So, and I'd say when you're dealing with aviation people, I'm a little proud of it. You're talking just a little higher caliber, because they're dealing with people's lives. I had an instructor at Southern. I told you I went to Southern. We were kind of goofing off in class one day, and I had an old gruff teacher, and he said, "You guys need to quit messing around." He said, if you want to kill them, with people here, if you don't learn what you're doing in aviation, you could kill hundreds of people at a time. And he said, if you're not going to pay attention, you can go down on campus and learn to be a brain surgeon, then you'll just kill them one at a time.
Well said, well said. Now, are you a pilot too, or can you fly? Or
no, I'm not, just the mechanic. Someday I'll finish up on the flying. I've got a few hours in. So just time and money. So
I understand. Reed's Flying Farming out there also does a good job. Talk about what they do to help farmers in the Coles County area.
Well, right now, actually this morning, Rick's running 2 planes, and I believe they're doing some aerial application of seed. They actually put out turnip and rye seeds into standing corn, and you go in and shell the corn, and then that rye and the turnips will be coming up, and they can run cattle on it. The big thing they've been doing is fungicides on corn and beans. And I think in the corn, it's roughly a 5 bushel increase. It can be more than that. It can be less than that. So it's helping feed all of us, making a safer product, and just creating more food for the world. We feed the world, and they help out with that.
Coles Together's out there as well, Angela, and her group. How important? I mean, they obviously probably use you a lot when they're trying to bring people in to bring businesses to the Coles County area. Talk about them and how important you think you are as really a partner with Coles Together.
We work with Angela and Anthony all the time, and Trina out there, but we work with them, but we don't really do a lot because everything's there. The airport's big. We've got instrument landing systems. The airport's there. When a company comes in to look at, they're going to see, okay, how much electricity does Coles County have? How much gas do they have? How many hardworking people live here? They look at all those things. They get down to the line that says airport, and it's 100%. They just check that off because we've got everything they could ask for.
That's good. Let's talk about funding. I know a few years ago there were some funding issues. Talk about how you're funded and how you feel, how solid the airport is for the future years to come.
We're very solid. Here in the past few years, I know a lot of municipalities, which we are a municipal corporation. We're just like a city out there by ourselves. We're not controlled by the county. We're not controlled by either city. We're just there by ourselves. But we are a municipal corporation. And a lot of cities, they've had financial troubles, just terrible financial troubles. We have not done that. We are very thrifty with our money, and we always look to the future. We know someday that big runway is going to need to be repaired. We repair it all the time, but it's going to need to be rebuilt. You're looking at $9 to $15 million to do that. We've been setting aside money for that. We set aside money for a rainy day all the time. And with just 3 employees, we don't have a huge expense. And employees, when you look at a lot of businesses, your employees are your biggest expense. Maintenance is our biggest expense. We have all those buildings. We have about 80 acres of asphalt or concrete out there that we have to maintain. So funding, we taxed the county, the whole county, Coles County. We raised our levy about $4,500 this year. That's $4,500. That's all we raised it. I believe that was 1.2% is what we raised it. In the last 4 or 5 years, that's about all we've done. We don't tax as much as we can. I know a lot of the cities, the counties, the municipalities, they tax every dime they can. We don't. We tax what we need. Of course, we've got a lot of farm ground because we have to have safety areas, and we can grow crops on those safety areas. So, with the farm economy is doing well, our farming does very well. We raise rough numbers, I think about $450,000 with taxes from Coles County that we collect, and our budget's $1.2 million, somewhere in there, rough numbers.
Okay. So. I was going to ask you next is you mentioned about the main runway going to eventually. How many years down the road till would it eventually need to be resurfaced or rebuilt?
We're going to keep repairing it as long as we can. There's a problem with concretes in general, of acids coming up through them and breaking them down, and we see that in the runway, but we have no idea when it will
completely break down.
Yeah, we go in, cut out big patches, and repair those, and we're going to keep doing that just as long as we can.
There you go. So there's really no timeline or anything. No. You're just going to keep. I don't want to say fingers crossed, but in a way you keep your fingers crossed that nothing major happens.
Yes. And that's getting close to 40 years old. That's old concrete.
Okay.
So it's held up well.
Okay. Let's ask some questions. We call those the world famous 8 questions. Kind of related to aviation, but they don't have to be. Your favorite airport? You can't say Coles County Memorial.
Well, it is. That's my favorite airport. In school we studied Dallas, Denver. Those are new modern airports. Like our airport was built in the 50s. Airports were very easy to build. Airport authorities were funded by the Airport Authorities Act right after World War II. So that's when a lot of airports were built. Dallas and especially Denver. Denver's it was
It's
all
way
new.
out there, though.
They made it way out. They made it so they could expand, and they have to have huge runways because the air's thinner at their. So, but Dallas is always great to go through if you're traveling.
I have been there. Yeah.
Dallas is usually easy to go through.
Favorite thing about Coles County?
Oh, good people.
There you go.
Just good people.
When you're having a hot dog, what condiment do you have to have on there? What's your
Probably ketchup.
ketchup? All right. Your favorite U.S. president?
U.S. president. Oh, I wouldn't know. I think Reagan probably did a good job.
Type of music you like to listen to?
I listen to everything, probably country most.
Okay.
But I listen to everything.
If you would happen to like chicken wings, you have to do like your chicken wings hot, spicy, middle, barbecue.
Oh, I like them hot.
There you go. All
I
right.
like 'em hot. I don't want them all gooey. I want them kind of dry, but
Drive it hot?
yeah, I like them hot.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. The most famous person you've ever met?
Oh, famous person. I don't know that I've ever met Bob McCullough.
Oh, Bob.
You
Gotta
know,
get Bob there.
Yeah.
Now, in the morning, do you have to have coffee, Coke, tea? What's your drink of preference?
I usually drink a little coffee in the mornings.
There you go. We'll talk real quick. We got about a minute to kill here about the air show this weekend, what people can expect.
Hey, come on out to the air show. Like I said, it's all free. We've got world-class acts. We've got World War II aircraft. We got a F-8F Bearcat. We'll have a C-47, which is a DC-3. Douglas Sky Raider, big, huge, noisy plane. We've got a military Chinook, Black Hawk helicopter. The kids will be able to walk through those. The guys with the military are really great about letting the kids go through. We'll have helicopter rides. We'll have the big Bigfoot type trucks. You'll be able to ride one of those. We've got a big children's area. There's a free portion to the children's area. We got great local food vendors. Anything you had out at the fair, we should have there. We don't have saltwater taffy and some things like that. But if you're looking for an elephant ear or a corn dog or something like that, it's a good time.
All right, Andrew, I appreciate you coming in today. It was great to meet you and talk a little bit about the Coles County Memorial Airport. We hope to have you back soon. This is WEIU.